we're now joined by Binance's Chief Marketing Officer, Rachel Conlan. Rachel, thanks for having us here.
Thank you for joining us. It's so exciting to see you guys here.
Now, we got to talk about what's going on. Sam and I did a little recap of some of our favorite moments at the desk from yesterday, a little recap of the floor, but you really have an insider's perspective as to what's going to go on. I know people are looking forward to CZ and Peter Schiff debating on stage later today. I think I saw CZ tweet that he's a little nervous about it, but what are you looking forward to?
Oh, look, there's over 200 speakers across the 2 days, and we've got 55 partners involved. I'm very excited about the debate yesterday. I was very excited about Celo. Yeah. And he brought down the house. I think it was exceptional. We also had His Excellency, Omar, who is incredible and a real pioneer of AI in the region. But there's a lot. We also have our regulatory debate this afternoon, which is so important, especially since what we've seen happen over the last 12 months, like what to expect over the next 12 months. So lots of exciting things happening over the course of today. And of course, all the fun entertainment experiences for those that need to get a little action in.
Sam went down the slide yesterday.
I did go down the slide, yes.
Did you?
Yeah, it was good fun.
Have you done the reverse bungee? Yes.
Not yet.
Okay, I'm going to dare you to do it later on, and who can go higher?
I think you have to get on that.
We're going to make it happen.
Amazing. It's a lot of fun.
Rachel, you are Chief Marketing Officer. You and I have spoken in the past. Live events, there's nothing like them. So, how do you take something like Binance, which is a digital property, digital exchange, has so many legs and arms everywhere, and really bring that experience to people so that they can really see it and touch it? What's the value there for you?
For us, you're so right. Binance is a digital proposition, but this is an industry that traditionally has been inherently functional. When you think about finance and you think about financial tools, what we want to do is bring that offline and through these experiences. And what we want this to be is a festival of crypto, where you come, you feel entertained, you feel inspired, but most importantly, you feel educated, and you leave with messages that are relevant for you. And I think this is one of 3,000 events we do a year. Obviously, it's our flagship event, but it's so important to have those emotional connections with the community, with the regulators, with policymakers, with the other founders and builders in the industry, because this is where the magic happens. This is where the ideas come. And the greatest privilege I have is at the many crypto and Web3 events that we are all in attendance at, when you catch up with people and they talk about a business connection they made or an investor they met and how that has then carved out a roadmap for them. And that's what's the exciting moment about them, is the meaningful connections that people are building and what that opens up for kind of future industry opportunities.
We talk so much about education in this industry, but we don't really talk about where that education starts. We don't talk about how we're going to educate folks. And I think it's really interesting that Binance is now focusing on a younger audience, the 6 to 17-year-olds, through a book and Binance Junior. I would love to hear a little bit more about that strategy and what you hope it enables for crypto users of the future.
This is something that's really personal to me, and in fact, the idea for Binance Junior came out of the marketing team's insight that there's not enough financial literacy and education that starts at the home. We don't have it in traditional school systems at the moment. So for us, it's really about creating that opportunity for parents to talk to their children about the importance of saving, about the importance of understanding financial tools for their future wealth and health. And this is something we're really excited about. Binance A to Z is a book that we have developed.
That we have here.
Just handed. This is one that actually was written and designed by the Binance marketing team. It was born out of the insight that many of us who are mothers and fathers on the team, that actually as we read our children bednight stories, we often learn more about the world than we realize, things that we'd forgotten. It's a really simple alphabet book that talks about some of the terms like altcoins to Satoshi and gives a very beginner perspective on it. But it's also a bit of fun, to bring into the family. And the Binance Junior product specifically is something that I think, as you said, it targets 6 to 17-year-olds. It's a way for parents to manage their children's accounts, but also educate them on the different digital assets and the way that they can engage. So, I personally have 8 godchildren, and I've already opened up sub-accounts for them, where I can now, instead of getting them, useless Christmas toys and birthday gifts that will be forgotten about, I'm putting aside a little bit of Bitcoin Bitcoin and BNB for them, on those key milestones and talking to them about it. And it's just a great way to get all of the family involved and ensure that we're setting up our future generations for success.
I mean, Rachel, what's funny is in 2015, I gave my daughter Bitcoin as a present, her and my nephew, and I had to literally give them a paper wallet, right? They had to put something there. I was like, just keep this in a safe place no matter what.
Yeah.
Luckily, they kept it. But I think, I do think there's something where I wrote an article recently about how today's youth are growing up in a world where they're seamlessly going back and forth between digital and physical, and virtual economies are as normal to them as a physical economy. So I love the idea that we can start them young to say digital assets have value and will only increase the more digital assets there are, and we're never going to have less.
Yes.
And so I love that you guys are doing this.
Yeah.
Is there an insight of how do we get more kids having conversations about responsible investing? Like, what's the way we can sort of have them think less about the degen culture of crypto and more about the way this can help improve their lives?
Well, I think this is an alternative. Like many people started, like in Ireland, where I'm from, I started with a post office account.
Yeah, right.
And I was given that at 12 years old, and you get that funding, but no one really ever explained it to me. So, I think it's really important for parents to sit down at the dinner table. I have friends that now have their kids pitch ideas, and if the idea is good for a lemonade stand, they'll get, 20 dirhams or $100 in the US, because you need that in the US to set up a lemonade stand, to be able to encourage that entrepreneurialism and encourage them to take stock of what is the value of fiat or a digital asset and what that means in terms of what they're purchasing. And I think that's really important to instill those values at a young age, and to also educate individuals and children on the fact that financial inclusion is not something that everyone has. And I think those conversations really, really need to start in the home in order for us to set them up for success at a later stage.
Sam, I think you hit it on the head. Kids these days, I think, are a lot more informed about digital economies than we like to give them credit. And I almost see this as an accessible way to educate the parents and for them to have those conversations, because crypto can feel so inaccessible, really hard to understand. We really focus on the technical language sometimes when we don't need to. And what a great way to have these multi-generational conversations about financial inclusion. I think it's really great.
Yeah, I think it's a fun way, and it's an entertaining way for you to bring it into the home that isn't always about the serious side of this. And we really feel actually the audience for this isn't necessarily the degens. We have lots of our community that are really excited about this, that wanted this product, but I do think this is a way to bring it more to people who are all just starting their journey, whether you be the parent or the grandparent.
I'm just going to throw out, I think this is going to educate the parents more than the kids.
Yeah, right?
The kids will know this stuff. They're very comfortable with the idea that my character has value and that it's something I put a lot of time and effort into.
Yeah.
The parents just don't get it.
I have an 8-year-old godson that parents think of themselves as very fiscally responsible, and he literally sat down and did a PowerPoint for them on what is Bitcoin and who is Satoshi. And my girlfriend called me and she was like, I now understand what you do for a job. It's really interesting. And I'm like, that is extraordinary. He would have expected that it was the 8-year-old godchild that articulated to a well-educated friend on what this business is about in the industry. So look, it's fun, it's about being educational, and it's really about how do we open more conversations around this space, and ultimately, we're still so early. How do we go to that, go on that journey to become mainstream?
Rachel, it was such a pleasure having you at the desk. Thanks for having us at the event, and I'm sure we'll see you around.
Thank you so much. Always good to see you both.
You too.